Tansei, good afternoon. I'm Krisanachkate. Welcome to APTN National News Daytime. An update now to that alleged illegal cannabis production in Mohawk territory in Ontario. According to the Organized Crime Enforcement Bureau, more than $200 million worth of cannabis was seized. Here's the latest. The Bureau consists of members of the Tyendinaga Police Service, the Canada Border Services Agency, and a dozen Ontario provincial police units. They say they seized more than 118,000 cannabis plants worth an estimated street value of $201 million in September and October in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory east of Belleville, Ontario. $3.7 million in contraband cigarettes, more than 35,000 kilograms of cut tobacco worth $9.8 million, and 3 firearms were also seized. 24 people have now been arrested and are facing up to 53 charges. 6 people are from Tyendinaga, while the others are from Toronto, Belleville, Windsor, and Duncan, BC. Police say the suspects were also involved in the unlawful diversion of water from the Bay of Quinte for the cannabis operation. The Ontario Provincial Police allege the seizures are part of an organized criminal network that was operating in Mohawk territory, where non-community members were exploiting First Nations land for profit. In a statement, Acting Sergeant Chris Brinklow of the Tyendinaga Police Service said, "These operations have enriched organized crime while offering no benefit to our people. The Tyendinaga Police Service remains committed to protecting our territory and ensuring that those who violate our rights and responsibilities are held accountable. All charges have yet to be proven in court." A young man from a northern Manitoba First Nation has died. RCMP confirmed the death after he consumed a liquid substance. RCMP say a man is dead and several others required medical treatment after they consumed a liquid substance in God's Lake First Nation. Pamela Chubb confirmed with CTV Winnipeg the 20-year-old who died was her brother Lance Chubb. She says Lance and his friends would occasionally get together and buy alcohol. However, last Saturday night, Pamela says Lance was found in his bed unresponsive and foaming at the mouth. Chubb says her brother thought it was smuggled alcohol, but it was instead windshield wiper fluid. 2 boys aged 15 and 17 were taken to Winnipeg for treatment. 10 other people also received medical treatment. The substance has since been seized, and Manitoba's RCMP's Major Crime Services is now investigating. On Monday, the Manitoba government showed media that it almost completed a 72-hour detox facility in Winnipeg. Located in central Winnipeg, the facility will be used to hold people coming down from substances like alcohol or methamphetamines if they cause disturbances in the public. The 20 units, also called protective care cells, are roughly 10 by 10 feet in size and each has their own toilet and sink. Beds will be added prior to the opening of the facility. Each unit has a security camera streaming to an office nearby for observation. The facility will open at the end of the month, first for people intoxicated by alcohol and then those high on other substances like methamphetamines, and a month or 2 later. There will be 3 licensed paramedics on duty 24 hours a day, along with mental health and addiction support workers. Addictions Minister Bernadette Smith says they plan to open similar facilities in Brandon and Thompson, modeled after Winnipeg's.
We want to have people access those supports. There's too much stigma around substance use and people not being able to get the care that they need. And for far too long, what we've been doing has not been working. And we're taking, a different approach because Manitobans have said they don't feel safe in their communities. We know that people aren't feeling safe when they're doing substances either, and we want to intervene. And this is an intervention that's going to help keep people safe, help keep people who are using safe, and get them to the supports that they need.
A supervised consumption site in Whitehorse is resuming its weekend service 6 months after pausing it due to staffing shortages. Blood Ties, the harm reduction nonprofit that runs the site, has partnered with the Council of Yukon First Nations to guarantee coverage until the end of March of 2026. The site, located in downtown Whitehorse, provides a safe and confidential place for people to consume drugs. Weekend service was halted there earlier this year following a public safety incident which saw Blood Ties lose a third of its staff. The organization says the incident magnified existing issues surrounding staff burnout and non-competitive pay, and that the Yukon government rejected funding approvals to help improve the situation in the long run. Its executive director says she's relieved that the weekend service will resume.
People use drugs 7 days of the week and need safety to do so. We also know that coming here and this becoming part of people's daily habit is such an important part of it, that consistency and reliability of the service. When we increased from a 5-day service to 7 days, we saw our monthly visits go up from 900 to over 3,000 pretty much within a month, and we've seen a corresponding decrease in visits during the weekend closures.
The organization says the site has helped reverse more than 400 overdoses since opening in 2021. The Northwest Territories is hosting a variety of events for National Addictions Awareness Week. Our reporter Charlotte Mort-Jacobs has that story.
Olivia Willia is 5.5 years sober. She's thinking of friends and family who are still struggling, but remains hopeful, surrounding herself with others in solidarity for the National Addictions Awareness Week March, organized by the Tree of Peace in Yellowknife.
That step of reaching out, really wanting it, because you can say that you want to get sober, but to actually do it, it's hard.
According to the latest national statistics from 2023 to 2024, the rate of hospitalizations entirely caused by alcohol and the rate of police-reported drug offenses in the NWT was over 4 times the national average. There has been no permanent inpatient treatment center since 2013, but residents are sent down south for programs free of charge. That's if they know where to turn to for help. The Territorial 2024 Mental Wellness and Addictions Recovery Survey showed that only 61% of respondents had heard of community counseling, and 35% were aware of other supports, like facility-based addictions treatment.
Bonus first, heal our people.
This year's theme for addictions awareness is called Anchoring Hope, a message evident from demonstrators.
It's about moving forward and believing in yourself.
Tree of Peace Indigenous youth worker Christina Moore says youth in particular can be vulnerable to feeling isolated because of technology.
So that connection piece and community piece is really important. So coming out for different cultural activities I think is really important.
Adjacent to the Tree of Peace, construction on a wellness and recovery center to deliver programs currently offered through the Sobering Center and Day Shelter, scheduled to open late 2026. In the meantime, the Tree of Peace will be sharing information and getting input from a community roundtable held here tonight, specifically on aftercare programs. A conversation Willia is happy to have.
Well, I think that we need a lot more of the on-the-land stuff for sure. I just think we need a lot more aftercare programs. Because I work here at the Tree of Peace as a receptionist, so I hear people saying that they, what happens when they get back.
Charlotte Mort-Jacobs, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
Residents in a First Nation in northern Alberta had to shelter in place as RCMP looked for a number of suspects involved in a gun robbery. On Saturday evening, Alberta RCMP advised the Peerless Trout First Nation to shelter in place after they spotted 3 suspects believed to be involved in a robbery of a number of guns. The suspects had also shot someone earlier in the day. Last Saturday at around 12:30 p.m., Alberta RCMP says 3 armed suspects robbed multiple firearms from a business near the hamlet of Red Earth Creek. The suspects fled the scene. At 8:15 p.m., RCMP located the suspects on Highway 686 near Peerless Trout. The suspects were using a jerry can to fill the truck up with gas and then fled into the forest. By Sunday at 6:30 a.m., RCMP determined the suspects were no longer in the area and the shelter in place has since been lifted. As of right now, the suspects remain at large and are considered armed and dangerous. If anyone sees anything suspicious in the surrounding area, you are asked to contact 911. Red Earth Creek is located about 350 kilometers northwest of Edmonton. A former chief of a First Nation in Saskatchewan has just been named a chancellor of a university. We'll be right back with that story. Welcome back. The University of Regina has made history welcoming their first Indigenous chancellor. Former chief of Cowes First Nation and local businessman Cadmus Delorme was inaugurated into his new role as chancellor. Over the last 15 years, he has held various roles at the U of R, most recently being a part of the Board of Governors. He plans to have a number of significant conversations on a number of topics, including normalizing reconciliation in academia.
I'm very external focused, so I get to focus on alumni, current students, donors, respectable people in this province and country. But internally, I get to sit in those meetings as well, and I can explain things that we need to shift, we need to pivot, because that's what the university is, and that's who we can be, and that's the role I want to play for the next 3 to 6 years.
Delorme is the 10th chancellor in the university's history. The newly elected MLA for Cambridge Bay and Nunavut is raising the alarm on an epidemic of drugs and violence in their community. As APTN's Justin Hardy tells us, the community is hoping for territorial support.
MLA Fred Peterson, who won the Cambridge Bay seat with 55% of the vote last month, says the people in his community are seriously impacted by the growing rate of drugs and violent crime. Peterson says this became more apparent while he was on the campaign trail.
When I was putting up campaign signs, I was using a screw gun that, as it gets closer in, it kind of knocks a bit, right? And I was outside doing that on one of the buildings, and 3 doors opened up with people coming to check what was going on. Coincidentally, in that same building, there were some drug dealers from down south, and one of them shot a handgun on the floor in one of those units. So, you know, they were quite on edge.
There's only one way in and out of the remote community of Cambridge Bay, and that's by airplane. From most destinations outside of Nunavut, passengers and cargo are held to the same standard of security as traveling anywhere else in the country. But Peterson says there's one glaring opening that needs to be addressed.
From Yellowknife going to any of our communities, including coming here or to Rankin Inlet, there's no security screening required. You just hop on an airplane, and then, you know, from Rankin Inlet you can get into any community without security screening, and from Iqaluit you can get into any Kikikdani community without screening too. So anybody can get into any community in Nunavut without security screening right now.
Peterson is in Iqaluit along with every other MLA for orientation and to choose their next territorial leadership. He hopes that this newly forming government will take the concerns of his community seriously, including his concern for more security at airports in the north.
You know, I'd like to see passengers coming into the community, leaving Yellowknife, to have to go through security screening, and possibly even trying to lobby the NWT government to do border screening at their borders with vehicles coming in.
Justin Hardy, APTN National News, Iqaluit.
We now want to tell you about this week's second web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, does the Cowichan ruling concern you about private land ownership in Canada? You can answer yes, no, or unsure. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca/poll to have your say. An Indigenous police officer in Ontario was recently recognized for his bravery. That story when we come back. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Charlottetown 4, Halifax showers and 4. Cartwright 5, La Grande River partly cloudy and 2. Saguenay 0, Quebec City sunny and 1. Windsor 3, Toronto 5. -7 in Sudbury, Sioux Lookout -4. -10 in Churchill, Norway House -4. Winnipeg -2, Dauphin partly cloudy and -1. Cloudy in Saskatoon at +1, Regina sunny and 0. Uranium City -8, Buffalo Narrows -7. Sun's out in Fort McMurray at 0, high level -4. 9 in Lethbridge, 6 in Edmonton. 2 in Bella Coola, Kamloops 3. Sand Spit 9 and showers there, Smithers 4. Whitehorse -4, -10 in Watson Lake and sun's out there. Norman Wells, sunny as well, -11, Wrigley -11. Sax Harbor -10, Tuktoyaktuk -11. Baker Lake -7, Chesterfield -3. And Arctic Bay -14, Iqaluit +2. A summer swim almost turned deadly, and a man who prevented the drowning near Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, has been recognized for his efforts. Constable Logan Lewis with the Anishinaabe Police Service received the Heroes Beyond the Badge Award by the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police and General Motors OnStar Canada. On July 27th, Constable Lewis was off duty wrapping up a day of swimming with his family at Harmony Beach when he was thrust into action. The officer heard screaming far off into the water. After a long run and swim, he encountered a bystander who told him that a young man was at the bottom of the lake and unresponsive. Lewis says that he and others were on scene to save a life that day.
It felt really good. Yeah, it was kind of like, when I seen him laying there, I had a really bad feeling like, hey, he's gone, but I can't just leave him there. You know what I mean? So, and then when I pulled him up, and then his eyes really bulging out of his head. So yeah, and then it was good, you know, because that's somebody's son, right?
Lewis says he checked on the individual at the Sault Area Hospital after the incident, where it was confirmed that he would be okay. Officials with the Anishinaabe Police Service say they are proud to work alongside someone who has displayed such a quick thinking and selfless actions. People gathered in the Winnipeg neighborhood of St. Boniface on Sunday to commemorate the 140th anniversary of Louis Riel's death. Among the speakers was Prime Minister Mark Carney, the first sitting Prime Minister to attend the November 16th ceremony. APTN's Fraser Needham reports.
The weather was perfect for the Prime Minister as he laid a wreath at Riel's tomb. He then told the assembled crowd Riel's legacy is as relevant today as it was in the late 1800s.
Well, reconciliation is a process as yet unfinished. Progress has been made, and the trajectory is encouraging. Partnership, open dialogue, building together are how we must move forward. It's how we can fulfill the vision of the man we're here today to commemorate, and it's how we will honor the legacy of Louis Riel.
Riel was executed in November 1885 for his role in leading Métis and First Nations people in the Northwest Rebellion. His execution has long been a black mark against then Prime Minister Sir John A. Macdonald and the Canadian government. The significance of the current Prime Minister speaking at a commemoration for Riel was not lost on Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew.
And the reason why it's so significant to welcome a sitting Prime Minister is because in Riel's day, the Prime Minister of Canada was calling for Riel's execution. And here we are 7 generations later, the Prime Minister of Canada is here to pay respect and to honor Louis Riel. And that shows us that Riel's work is not done. His legacy is alive in our time.
Manitoba Métis Federation President David Chartrand spoke about the ongoing tariff and annexation threats of U.S. President Donald Trump and how Riel would have responded to the current crisis.
Why am I talking about all this stuff this way? I'm not talking about Riel itself. Because that's what Riel would have been doing if he was standing here today. He would have been standing for United Canada. He would have been standing for what's good and what's just. And he would have damn well stood to make sure that Canada was protected against and with all costs necessary to defend the people of Manitoba and Canada.
Riel is now widely regarded as the father of the province of Manitoba. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
November 16th is Louis Riel Day, and every year the Métis dance company Venez Danser throws a big party in Vancouver. Our Ryan Cunningham took part in the celebrations during this year's 20th anniversary in Vancouver.
20 years, Vancouver-based dance company Venez Danser has honored Louis Riel and his sacrifice for equal rights in Canada. We talked to the company's founder and artistic director, Yvonne Chartrand.
You know, it's not very often that you have somebody that gives up their life for their people to live, first of all. And, you know, it's very heartbreaking what happened in the end. Louis Riel was a peace-loving man, and he only wanted to work with the Canadian government at the time.
On November 16th, 1885, Louis Riel was hung for treason by the Canadian government after he led the Northwest Rebellion in Saskatchewan. He was the only person charged with treason and executed after the Métis and some Cree fighters lost the Battle of Batoche.
What I wanted to do was to create a Mtis worldview, so for the Métis people to have like a platform, a space to share our culture, our joy, our love, the beauty of our culture, and tell our stories, share our stories through dance.
I talked with some of the dancers about what to expect at their event.
Yvonne's always done like a Métis variety show, so it's exciting to have all that together, and usually we have a pretty strong Métis crowd, so almost everyone comes and dances with us afterwards.
For the 20th anniversary, Yvonne flew in renowned Métis author and activist Maria Campbell and the world-class Métis fiddler Gary Lapine. Maria Campbell and Yvonne created the first Louis Riel Day celebration 20 years ago, and Yvonne is still carrying on the tradition.
It's that community. It's about bringing people together, building bridges, and just healing our people, healing ourselves, and, you know, just bringing joy to people of all nations.
In 1992, Louis Riel was declared the founder of Manitoba, and in 2023, he was named the first honorary premier. Venez Danser isn't just a name for Yvonne's company, it's also her battle cry. In Michif, it means come and dance. Ryan Cunningham for APTN National News, Vancouver.
An internationally recognized leader in the performing arts is Dennis Ward's guest on an all-new episode of Face to Face tonight. Mohawk multidisciplinary artist Santee Smith is currently touring her award-winning production, The Mush Hole. The theatrical production is based on the experiences and testimony of residential school survivors at the Mohawk Institute in Brantford, Ontario. Here's a preview.
There were very pinnacle moments that people would share. Experiences that happened in specific rooms. And so it became more about sharing what happened in the bricks and mortar of the school, what was tied to the boiler room, what was tied to the boys' playroom, what was tied to the classroom or the girls' dormitory or the laundry room, solitary confinement room. So we would hear these stories that happened in the place. So it was tied to the school and the colonial infrastructure of that. And so that's how I structured the scenes. It's very vignetted about specific, so there's not a storyline that you know, is a literal storyline. We glimpses of what happened in different rooms and the intergenerational impacts of that.
And that's your daytime newscast. Dennis Ward is back with your evening newscast in a few hours. Please join us then. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again. Akse.